Good morning. I'm Dr. Cheryl, MD, the Celebrity Doc. It's nice and warm and toasty here in front of my fireplace this morning on this nippy day. I thought it would be a good time to come in and have a fireside chat with you all. I was just kind of thinking about the state of world health in general and wondering how we got to be at this point where our health is not what it should be, especially in these days of COVID-19, where it's important for our immunity to be at its very highest in order to protect us from the virus. A lot of people just are not as fit as they need to be. I started thinking about why that is. I started thinking about why children aren't as healthy as they used to be. And I kind of came to one conclusion. Our world is technologically advancing at a breakneck rate. Unfortunately, we as biological beings are still primitive. We are not evolving as quickly as our world is. You see, we're still designed to hunt and gather. That means that we really still need to move a lot, and we're designed to eat whole foods, not things that are manufactured with chemicals. I think back on when I was a girl, what it was like growing up. It was very different than the times that the children are living in now. We used to have physical education as a regular part of our school day. It allowed us to burn off excess energy. It allowed us to get that movement in that was so critical for our bodies, for our development, and for our intellectual capacity. You see, the body needs oxygen. The brain needs oxygen. If we are physically moving, that oxygen gets delivered more efficiently to the brain. Physical education was an excellent thing. When we arrived home, there was homework that had to be done, but we were still allowed to go outside to run and play, again, expending excess energy, but more importantly, moving our young bodies. Children today are not moving enough. They're barely moving at all, for that matter. I think on this cool day about one of the experiences that I had as a kid that exemplifies how things have changed. Now, on a cold day like today, if kids are still going to school, although a lot of them are doing school from home now because of COVID-19, but if they are still going to school, especially in colder places where the temperatures may drop down to freezing, now mothers jump into cars, sometimes fathers, but somebody jumps into a car and drives that kid to school, or drives them to a bus stop and waits with them so the child sits in a nice warm car until the bus arrives. That did not happen when I was a girl. The bus stop, even when I was just 6 or 7, was a good little distance away. I had to walk to it because unlike these days, when there are multiple cars in the family, we only had one car. My father used to use it to drive to work, which meant that my mother, my brother, and I did not have an alternate mode of transportation unless we took the bus. So every morning, I would get up bright and early and be prepared to walk to that bus stop, come rain, shine, sleet, or snow. There were not that many snow days declared in those days. I lived in the UK in a little town called Ipswich. Go Ipswich. It got cold. Sometimes it was freezing. In the winter, it snowed and there was ice. Yet school still occurred. I still had to get to that bus stop. It didn't matter that it was cold and I was tiny. My mother did an interesting thing to make sure that I stayed warm. My mother would bake a potato in our coal-burning stove, and she would give me that potato to carry in my gloves as I walked to the bus stop in the morning. So my hands stayed nice and warm as I walked and as I waited for that bus. Once the bus arrived, I would take my potato and I would eat it. Nowadays, we tend to toss potatoes by the wayside as carbohydrates, and we don't want too many of those for fear they may give us bad health. But I tell you what, it isn't the potato that's getting you. It's what you're putting on the potato. The potato is a whole food, a natural food, and contrary to popular belief, we do need some carbohydrates, good carbohydrates, carbohydrates that are not high fructose corn syrup designed to make us crave more carbohydrates and buy more unnecessary non-whole foods. So in the morning, I would eat my potato after it had done the job of keeping me warm. That potato kept me warm, allowing me to take that walk every morning to the bus stop to go to school and to return home every evening, walking home from the bus. That was a daily routine of walking more than 30 minutes every single day of the school week, 5 days a week. No matter what, every single day, I was getting in the aerobic exercise needed to keep my body healthy. Then in addition to that, there was always physical education and going out to play after school. These things helped to keep my body healthy and strong, helped to keep me from falling into childhood obesity. Having laid down good habits as a child, I entered into adulthood with a healthy start. I've maintained the habits of being physically active every day. I park further in the parking lot from the door of the grocery store and walk to the grocery store door. At the end of my grocery shopping, I take my cart and push it all the way to the end of the parking lot or wherever I have parked. I personally go out and take walks in the morning with my good friend here, my dog Rosie. Rosie is a poodle. Poodles are high energy and they love to walk. They love activity. So Rosie definitely keeps me healthy because not only do we enjoy our walks, but I enjoy chasing Rosie around the house, which is one of her favorite things to do. Rosie loves to play ball. Not only does she love for me to throw the ball, for her to run and get, she loves me to chase her with the ball. I'll spend a few minutes every day chasing Rosie with that ball. At the end of a few minutes, I'm panting, she's panting. I've put in a few more minutes of high intensity aerobic exercise. There are lots of ways you can get that movement. The important thing is that people do get the movement in. If we're getting the movement in all across the country, all across the world, if we're eating good, fresh, nutritious, whole foods, doesn't have to be fancy foods, just nutritious, fresh, whole foods. If we're eating those types of foods and avoiding eating the chemical and overprocessed foods, then as a whole, we are going to rise in our health status across the world. If we're really going to combat COVID-19 and the collection of other diseases that will come with technology and time, then we are going to have to be immunologically strong. We are going to have to be physically fit. So on this chilly morning, I am asking you to take an action, to take a baby step. That baby step is to add just a few more minutes of movement of moderate intensity into your day. I don't care if you're walking. I don't care if you're dancing to the radio in your living room. I don't care if you're playing with your dog. I don't care if you're playing with your children. Add a few more minutes of activity into your day and encourage the rest of your family to do so as well. There you have it. I'm sitting here thinking about how to cure the ails of the world. There's just one suggestion. I don't have all of the solutions, but I do have an answer for at least one. Take it for what it's worth. I hope you take it and run with it. Have a fantastic, energized day. Signing out, Dr. Cheryl, MD, the Celebrity Doc.